Back to our breaking news and a live look at the recovery efforts in D.C. right now. An American Airlines flight collided with a Black Hawk helicopter late last night and ended up in the Potomac River. Crews do not believe anyone survived. Among those on the plane, 2 young figure skaters, 2 of their parents and 2 coaches, according to the Boston Skating Club. Their CEO just spoke a few moments ago.
These kids and their parents, they're here at our facility in Norwood 6, sometimes 7 days a week. It's a close, tight bond. And I think for all of us, we have lost family.
After recovery efforts conclude, attention will turn fully to the investigation.
As of now, no black boxes have been found. This morning, we are tackling the legal ramifications of this crash with 9 News legal analyst Whitney Traylor. Whitney, good morning.
Good morning.
Where do you even begin whenever you're analyzing the legal liability of a mid-air collision like what we saw yesterday?
Yeah, this is a real tragedy. The starting place is it intentional or negligent? And here, I think there's a negligence issue. Obviously, it doesn't seem that there's any evidence that there was intent here. And so when you're looking at the negligence, you have to look at the different parties. And so here, it could be the pilot in command. It could be a mechanical issue. It could even be ATC, air traffic control. So as you both know, I'm working on my private pilot license. So I have some experience in this area, and I could tell you that the safety measures, the controls that are in place are abundant. As I've started to fly, the safety aspect has been the thing that stood out the most. And so really, particularly when you're coming in for your takeoff and landings, that's where air traffic control is really in control. And it sounds like I read a CNN report that said right before the collision, ATC said to the helicopter, do you have the American Airlines, do you have the jet in sight? Meaning that the helicopter may have been at fault. Of course, it's way too soon to determine that. It'll take months to figure it out. But if the helicopter was at fault, in terms of the flight rules, the helicopter, because of its maneuverability, as it gets close, will have more of the responsibility to be out of the flight path of the airplane.
So that's my question. If it is determined that the military helicopter was at fault, can civilians sue the military?
Right, that's a great question. And yes, under the Federal Tort Claims Act, you can actually sue the military for, civilians can sue the military for damages, which would be the case here. Now, if there was something that ATC did, if the air traffic control, who's controlling that airspace, did something at fault, that's managed by the FAA, and then now you're suing the federal government, which is also a claim. So those 2 folks could be at fault. And then, of course, if there was some kind of technical manufacturing type issue, then a manufacturer can be at fault. It doesn't look like that at this very early stage, but we'll have to figure that out.
As you just mentioned, it's very early in this investigation, but what happens next in terms of this investigation?
Right. So both the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board, and the FAA will both investigate. The NTSB has an office just a couple miles from here, so they're going to lead the investigation, and this will take months. They'll go through, they'll presumably find the black box, they'll find the wreckage, and then do their investigation, but it will be led up by the NTSB.
So if there is a lawsuit and a trial, how does a jury determine damages when someone has lost their life?
Right, that's a tough question, and really that's up because that's dependent on the lawyers. I mean, the lawyers are going to, how well they do in closing and at trial will really dictate what those damages look like. And it's a tough issue because you really have to say, we can't go back in time. We can't, there is no substitute for your loved ones. And so the only thing we can do is really put money on it. And it feels a little bit transactional, but the system, we can't go back in time and bring those people back. So it's really an argument to damages. And of course, that goes to the emotional distress, the loss of income, the loss of love. All of those things will contribute to that ultimate number that a jury might come back with. This is a case that I suspect would settle, though. Nobody would want to defend, if there is liability determined here, how do you defend that?
Yeah.
This story is just so heartbreaking.
Yes.
With every detail, it just gets more upsetting. All right, Whitney, we appreciate you coming in this morning.
Sure, it's my pleasure.
Thank you.